Welcome, Soaring Hammer fans and Mandalorian Mercs. Ithaca here, and I always believe in safety first. All right, so what we got going on today is we went out and we bought a nice 10 foot by 3 inch PVC pipe. Comes in multiple styles, so make sure you check your prices. There's like a solid core, there's a foam core, and then a hollow core. I don't know what it's called, but it's the cheapest one. So make sure you check on your prices first. This was like, for 10 foot was like 8 something, okay, versus the stronger stuff that was like 2 foot was like 5 something. So it would have been like $11 for 4 foot versus $8 for 10 foot. Think about it. You don't need the extra strong stuff for this. So what we did is we cut out, based off of Jones's Gauntlet size, we measured off at 8 inches. So we measured off 8 inches of PVC pipe. And I just cut out a section of it, a 4-inch section. And the reason I cut out a 4-inch section, Jones, if you make him your forearm, 5-arm. All right, so there's Jones's forearm, and I measured it so his arm slips in perfectly to the gauntlet. Okay, so this is the bottom piece of his gauntlet. Now you can see it's got a slight angle to it because of how skinny you get up here versus how thick you are back here. So it barely fits in nice, so it's nice right here. And now I'm going to heat gun this section and bring this section into his wrist, a little bit at a time. Alright, so that's what we're about to do. So remember, I cut out a 4-inch section out of this pipe here, and then after we create the bottom, then we use a template to create the top. So on to... time to get serious again. That's what I do. Oh, this protects my face from anything coming up, but still make sure you have on your ballistic eyewear as well. All right. Now this will get hot, so you want to make sure that you have some gloves. I will have gloves when I go to bend it, but I'm going to be here a while heating this up, and it's going to take some time. Okay, so what we got going on here is need your forearm again. As you can see, I just slightly went in, bolted in towards the wrist section. I didn't go in all the way against his wrist, as you'll see here in a second. Alright, so now the back piece fits in really good. It's nice and snug against his skin. Comes up at least 3/4 of his forearm. And the bottom comes up, and you see how it bows in, but it's not too much because he will have gloves on, which have to go inside here. Plus he'll have the end of his sleeve right up in here too. So it's a lot bulkier right here in your clothing. Matter of fact, put your sleeve down real quick. Right, your sleeve. Okay. So this will slip on like so, and see how that bulks up there? Because he's skinnier. So you need a little bit of excess there to play with. And we'll be back since we're done the top portion. Okay, so we're back again, and now what we did is we took, we already showed you the bottom portion of the gauntlet. Now keep in mind, these are basic templates. You have to do a little detailing to it. We'll have to sand the edges, round them off, smooth things out, add any details to the actual bottom of the gauntlet once we're finished. Another thing we're going to do now is we took the template that we printed out for, and we have to tweak it. Yeah, the puppies, sorry. Puppies for sale, dachshunds. You like that. The template had to adjust it back and forth a little bit, so you will have to fine tune them, but it's not an issue because it's going to be based on the person's size anyway. So what we did now is we put the template on the PVC pipe, as you can see, went back through the Dremel and actually cut out the detail from said PVC pipe. Okay, so boom, cut the PVC pipe out. Now I have to heat gun it because when these two will overlap, this one will sit over top of this one, and right now you can see it's not going to. So I'll heat gun this one, spread this out so it overlaps the edges, and then the back needs a lot of spreading out because it's got to completely overlap. Because you want it to look more like, more like this when you're done. So then you overlap like that. And that's what we're about to do with the heat gun. So, see you in a few minutes once I'm done heating this, and we'll see how they look. What I'm doing here is I'm heating it up. Okay. Dog's barking again. What you can see is I'm heating it up. If the color changes, it's not a problem. This cheaper stuff actually heats up really good. Avoid your hands. Be careful not to burn yourself. I'm heating up one side at a time. keep rotating back and forth, nice and steady. So you're heating up a greater area. And then use your table that you have outside, and you can actually bend the piece out like this and let it cool. So that way you're not going to burn yourself. And it's a little cooler outside, which helps us out. A can of air helps too. You can turn your can of air upside down, and it sprays out the Freon from the can of air, and that will cool us down real fast. So you probably work twice as fast if you had yourself a can of air. People sometimes bake their stuff in an oven, but please be advised when you do stuff in the house, if you bake the stuff in the oven, it will leave off toxic fumes. Have plenty of ventilation in the room that you're using your oven in. Have your fans going, everything, all right? And make sure you air your house out when you're done. I have birds. I cannot do that in the house. I will kill my birds. So I'm outside with a heat gun doing it. Oven is a lot faster because it will heat the entire piece, and you can see the difference between straighter edge versus that rounded edge. So once I straighten this edge out, then we'll go and we'll test the template over that gauntlet. It's really simple to do. You have a little bit more control with the heat gun too, because if this entire piece was hot, it'd be hard for me to handle, for one. Two, the entire thing would want to bend and flex, not just the area I'm working with. So you do have a little bit more control with the heat gun. Now if you want an entire piece to be flat, then like if you use this PVC pipe, you get the bigger diameter PVC pipe, and you actually, people use it for chest plates and ab plates and back plates and things like that, because you can, but you'll need to flatten this entire pipe. So you need an oven for that, to flatten it, because it would heat the whole thing, and you just lay it out and you just put a piece of plywood on top, press down the plywood and flatten it. And once again, be careful of those fumes. We're outside, we're well ventilated. And we'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, so what we have going on here now is the front lined up really well for the glue that I'm going to be using. It lined up very well. So I did a fine tweak it right there in that corner there, and this corner here, which I'll do in a second. But primarily I had a big gap in the back section here. So what I'm doing now is I tape the front up really good so it's nice and sturdy, and then I heat gun the side, and I'm able to bend it down further so the edges actually meet. And I'm about to do the same thing to this side here. So I did this side already. Don't worry about any of these bubbles that pop up, because you sand all that stuff down. So now I'll heat up this side again. Turn it off. I'm going to use my sleeve because it's thick enough, and then I'm going to push in. Do not use a sleeve if you think you're going to burn yourself, please. I don't want to be responsible for anybody burning themselves. And I'll hold it for a couple of seconds to help it cool down. It doesn't get too hot, really. It only takes, well, I'm outside too, and it's pretty chilly out. So I guess that's in my favor. And then boom, you can see how it fits a lot better. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably have to heat
that, bend it out a bit.
Yeah, bend this top piece out a tiny bit when I go to put it together. And so I'm taking it apart now. I'm going to bend this corner out some. So I'm going to mark it. So I know the marked one is the one I have to heat up and bend out a tiny bit at the top right there, so it connects. And then I will heat this corner, bend it back down, heat the corner, bend it back down, and we should be ready for fitting. Stay tuned. Okay, so we put the gauntlet on Jones here, and I'm doing my test fit. Make sure you do your test fit, you have clothing underneath to compensate for the jumpsuit. So there's the front of it, and the glue will be run up into the down that corner right there, over here, all along the seam line, and it'll be sanded. This is just a general template of the gauntlet. All right, so I know it's all white and it's hard to tell from distance, but I'm going to sand the edges, smooth it out, and then the back actually has some more detail to it as well, and so does the top. I can't point, obviously. Let's take these off here and I'll show you. They have this back portion, I think, actually comes inward and then back up. It's got a little bit of a bow to it or a point to it, or creates a point. I'm going to go look at the pictures some more and then do the drawings on. Get ready to start jumping into the details. And so that's the first gauntlet. We'll keep you posted once we finish it. Okay, what I did here is now that we have the gauntlets, I'm working on the small details. I took an extra one of these I had laying around that were scaled wrong. And you see I just squared it off based off of the straight edge, and then this edge here, created a line. And I created 2 cut lines. And that became my template to line up on the bottom gauntlet in the back section. You see the front curves in here, back's wider, so that's in the back section. Because it's only detail for the gauntlet on the bottom is these 2 open grooves here. So now they're created on the bottom gauntlet. Next we have is the top gauntlet, and let me see if I can show you this real fast here. We cut some wedge pieces, I call them. We cut some wedge pieces, and what these are going to be used for is there is a detail on the top gauntlet that goes from the front to the back. Now these are too long, but I'll cut these down shortly. But it goes from about there all the way up to about ½ an inch from the edge, so about that much needs to be cut off, and then another one over on this side, and then a flat piece goes across the top, leaving just the bottom portion open. It's gonna be, you'll see once you get there, but just give me a heads up. I cut some of these pieces here, 4 of them, 2 per gauntlet, and Jones is working on creating my templates, my half pieces and stuff, so I can get the cutting in a second. We'll see you soon. So here we are. I have both gauntlet sets cut out, and as you can see, I labeled them 1 and 2. Those are 2s, and these are 1s because they are fitted to match one another. I did patterns through each of them. What I had done after that, I took a Dremel through, cleaned all my edges up, and beveled the inside. So when I bevel the inside, that way when he slips his hand through, there's no sharp edges to catch his hand on, so it won't be rough going in. It'll be nice and beveled. Then I went back through with my sander, and I sanded all the edges again so it's nice and flat. Gives you a nice flat surface, okay? And then I went in and beveled the edges some more, and then the entire outside I went over and over and roughed it up really good because it's really smooth and you don't want that. I haven't done these yet. I've done the top pieces so far. I'm about to do these bottom pieces, and it's as simple as this. And that's pretty much it. That roughs it up for you for your primer and your painting. We'll get a piece of sandpaper and hit up on the inside of this because obviously the sander cannot, so we'll hit up inside manually with our hands. But all your edges are now beveled and everything is rough and ready for paint. Well, ready for glue, washing in water, then glue, then paint. Hit this last one up. I'm gonna go rinse them off, and I'm going to start getting ready to paint them, or to glue them with PVC glue. Stay tuned. Okay, bear with us, it's nighttime here, so in addition to the gauntlet video, I went back through and cleaned up the 2 edges where they meet, so they're actually flush around the front and the back. The glue actually held really good. So now we are ready to go. The gauntlet itself is made, and we are ready to go into phase 2. Which is to add the triangular pieces here, the detail to the front, add this detail to the front, and then we're ready for painting. Shins, we are now, this is going to be the front of the shin where we add the front shin piece too. Actually, I'll do a shin update. Okay, I'm in the prop room now where it's a little bit warmer, and anyway, now what you see here, what I got going on is I got the detail. The detail for this front is a square detail, but it's very hard to see in the images I got, so I just created my own little square detail right here on both of these gauntlets. And I already created the 2 rails, which will come down along the side of the gauntlet. And once this glue dries, then I just create a tabletop to this, and it will come down to about here. And then two prongs. It doesn't come all the way down. Those little prongs stick out at the bottom. So this will be covered from like here up. I got to create these two tabletops once that glue dries, and then these gauntlets will be done. Okay, so what we did here is this one's already glued on. I'm waiting for it to dry, but you can see how I have the extensions sticking out there at the bottom, and all they are is a pre-made piece of plastic, which I glue onto that rail right there. So once this dries, this gauntlet's done. Now it's ready to get painted, and about to finish this one up too. I'll be right back. Okay, here we go with the finished gauntlets as far as detailing in the build, but they will get repainted. And we're going to do a little slide this one back there. Do a little slide here. I'm hoping the detail shows out alright on this camera because it's all just primered. But share the imagery. I'll probably post the imagery at the end of this video, the gauntlets, so you can see what they're supposed to look like versus what they do look like. The only thing, well, let's go through this. Okay, so there's the front view, and then we go into a side view, and then we go into a back view, and then we go into the other side view, and yeah, so I'll get painted up some more. Some weathering, the secondary colors. But the gauntlets are now finished.